Welcome to the College Investor Audio Show, where we talk about the biggest issues impacting millennial money, from student loan debt to side hustles to building wealth. We will show you how to get out of debt so that you can build real wealth for the future.
Hello and welcome to the College Investor Audio Show. Today we're taking a look at Master Promissory Notes. What are they? Before you take out a federal student loan, you're required to sign a Master Promissory Note. This document is the legally binding document that rules all the loans you take out. This document is incredibly important to read and understand before you take out any federal student loans. We'll break it down so you can know what to expect before you actually read it. And it's riveting. Well, first of all, let's ask the question, what is a promissory note anyway? Well, it's a legally binding document. When a borrower signs it, they promise to repay their loans to the U.S. Department of Education. The MPN lays out the terms and conditions of the loans. Borrowers must sign an MPN before taking out any federal loans. However, they don't need to sign a new MPN each time they receive a loan disbursement. Borrowers can have the same MPN for up to 10 years. If a borrower needs to take out graduate or professional school loans, they will need to sign a new MPN, rather than their original undergraduate MPN. What does the MPN contain? The MPN is a detailed document. Some of the most important parts of the document are loan interest rate. The MPN contains your loan interest rate, of course, and also how interest is charged on the loan. This is particularly important for unsubsidized loans, which begin accruing interest immediately. Borrowing limits. If you're attending an expensive school, or you're attending medical or law school, anything like that, you might bump into borrowing limits. Keep these limits in mind as you plan how to pay for school. There's also things like grace periods, deferment, and forbearance. The MPN explains the legally binding practices surrounding grace periods, deferment options, and also forbearance options too. And the MPN also details exactly when you need to start repaying your loans and the different repayment options. Special note on the repayment options laid out in the Master Promissory Note, by the way. One of the most important parts of this note is the section detailing repayment options. These days, student MPNs detail income-driven repayment plans. Parent Plus loans don't have the same options. Since the MPN is a legally binding document, borrowers have a fully certified agreement that they will qualify for income-driven repayment options for the life of the loan. This guarantee is extremely valuable because the payments under income-driven repayment plans tend to be manageable for all income levels. Did you hear that? All income levels. Even if there are sweeping changes to student loans in the future, current borrowers will always have the option to do an income-driven repayment plan. That's why we encourage most federal borrowers to continue with the federal loan options rather than refinancing to a private lender. If you're ever confused about your repayment options, there's a tool called Loan Buddy that could help you figure out the right option for you. Again, it's called Loan Buddy. How to complete a Master Promissory Note. Let's check that out for a second. So, just so you know, it must be completed and signed before you take out your first federal student loan. This will only happen after you've selected a college and have been approved for federal student or financial aid. StudentAid.gov advises that completing an MPN takes like 30 minutes. Prospective borrowers need to have their Federal Student Aid ID, FSA ID, to complete the MPN electronically. You'll provide 6 pieces of personal information, such as your Social Security number and your driver's license number. Then you'll need to provide contact information for 2 references. Now, so important, references are people you have known for at least 3 years who live in the United States. These people will be contacted if you default on your loans, and the Department of Education can't track you down. In most cases, the first reference should be a parent or legal guardian, for obvious reasons. Once you fill out that information, you'll have the opportunity to read through the full agreement. The MPN includes the statement, "I promise that I will not sign this MPN before reading the entire MPN, even if I am told not to read it, or told that I am not required to read it." Interesting statement to have, but for this reason, we do advise reading the full document before signing it. The information is really valuable, and it is a great practice to read legal documents before signing them anyway. So what happens after you sign this thing? Once you sign your MPN, the Department of Education tells your school that you've signed the MPN. At that point, the school will do entrance counseling for you. This is a meeting where a financial aid officer from the school explains what it means to borrow money for your education. Please take advantage of this meeting to ask questions and learn more about student loans. Please. I said the magic word 4 times. When you understand student loan borrowing, you can make informed decisions about how much to borrow. You don't have to borrow all of it, by the way. The Master Promissory Note is the start of student loan borrowing. It's not the end of it. So completing that MPN, super important step in the student loan borrowing process, but it doesn't dictate how much you'll ultimately borrow. After signing the document, take steps to reduce the amount you need to borrow so you can finish school with a lower debt load. Oh, you're going to want that. Apply for as many scholarships as you can stomach, working part-time, even full-time jobs if you can, and then live as frugally as possible. That can help you avoid taking on burdensome debt for the future. And we also have tons and tons of different resources and ideas for you to earn extra cash while you're in college so you can lower that burden as well. You can find that at thecollegeinvestor.com, as well as this article so you can kind of zoom in a little bit more and study more about the MPN. Thanks so much for stopping by today. Again, check out thecollegeinvestor.com for more. We'll talk to you again real soon.